Hey everybody, it's the Boss Lady here, coming to you with a requested video. I was requested by AmandaV. She asked me to do a video on my experience being a teen mother. For those who don't know, yes, Boss Lady was a teen mom. And I still identify with it even though, I'm almost 40. But anyway, yes, I was a teen mom. I got pregnant in the 8th grade. I was 14 and I had her in my 9th grade year, and I was still 14 when I gave birth. I turned 15 4 days later, so our birthdays are 4 days apart. Her father was 16 at the time of her birth. So let's get into this video. My experience, what I went through. Let's see here. Well, my emotions was all over the place. I had to deal with trying to figure out how to tell my parents, and the best thing I could think of was to tell my mom by phone. And the reason why I told her by phone is because I was scared to death. I will be honest, my mom was the scariest woman on the planet. So I was staying here in this house with my grandmother, and I called my mom on the phone and I told her, and the sound of her scream, I can still hear it today. That scream was so piercing. I don't ever want to hear my mom make that sound ever again in life. I broke my mother's heart, and that damaged me. When my dad came to the phone to ask what was going on and why was she screaming, why was she crying, I had to tell my dad over the phone what was going on. My dad said okay, and he hung up the phone. So, needless to say, my parents were devastated, disappointed. I had disrespected them, defamed our family, just everything you can imagine. My grandmother didn't even know until 3 days later, I think, when my mom was yelling at me and fussing at me here at the house. And my grandma's like, "What is your problem? What's going on?" And my mom said, "She's pregnant." And my grandma looked at me. She looked at mama. She looked at my stomach. She sat back. She said, "Okay, so we need to get some Pampers and some bottles, and we need to get a crib and some blankets." And Grandma didn't raise her voice. Grandma didn't fuss at me. She never fussed at me. To this day, even though she's passed and gone, I don't ever remember my nanny ever fussing at me for getting pregnant so young. She just said, "Okay, let's handle it." And she told my mom, "Stop all that hollering. It's gonna be all right. We got this." And we went on about business. So my birth father, though, on the other hand, he was very angry. Sorry, phone ringing. He was very angry, and he mentioned the word abortion. And my mom went off. He said if I was in his house, I would be having an abortion. My mom said that's why she's living with me, and she is not. She's going to have this baby. So, for anyone who's got the question, was abortion an option? No, it was not. Our family didn't believe in that. Was adoption an option? No, it was not. And I will tell you, even though I was 14, this was 1991. So, birth control had been out forever. Sex ed was all over the TV, in the schools, outside the schools. So it wasn't that I did not know what I was doing. I knew exactly what was going down at the time that it went down. So she was conceived in the natural state, and I'll leave it at that. So adoption definitely was not the option. I did have to deal with ridicule from kids, from my classmates, from teachers in the school, from not parishioners, but from church members, And when I say church members, I'm not just talking about regular folks. I'm talking about like the elders, the deacons, the deaconess, the mothers. Yes. My grandmother had to stand toe to toe with one. And I was just like, whoa. I mean, when I saw my grandmother get up and she, I was like, oh, Nanny went off. Okay. And then my mom said, you don't ever hold your head low. You hold your head high. So between my grandmother and my mom, that's where I got my confidence from. And that's where I pulled my strength, because I was going through it. Like every day I went to school, somebody was saying something, or, saying something nasty or whatever. And it wasn't that I was a nasty girl. I wasn't out there with he, those, that, and whatever. No, it was one person. They knew who he was. My mom knew who he was. His mama knew who I was. Yeah. So, I wasn't that girl, put it that way. But I had to deal with it, at church, at school, on the street, whatever. I dealt with baby daddy drama while pregnant, after pregnancy, few years after her birth. Yes, I don't deal with it now. It's not going down. But I had to deal with that, with him, with his family, them not liking me or me not liking them, me not trusting them with my baby. I mean, I dealt with all of that. My baby would come back scratched up, or, I would send food and her food wouldn't be eaten. I'm just like, well, what's going on, or her clothes wouldn't come back, or she, clothes would be dirty. I mean, just all kinds of different things. So, or I'm entrusting him to take care of his kid, but he's leaving her with someone else. I dealt with all of that, One thing that got me through all of this was my faith. I ended up leaving my childhood church and going to a different church, where I could really just pull from my faith. I had to get knee deep in the word. I mean, like a swimming pool deep into the word to get me through what I was going through with him, with them, with school, with my parents, with my mom, because even though I was a mom, I was still their kid. So my thoughts and things weren't the same as theirs, and we clashed. Now, I didn't go through what a lot of girls go through as far as being kicked out, living in shelters, hopping from couch to couch. That wasn't me. If I wasn't staying with my mom, I was staying with my grandmother. I lived with my grandmother for 3 months. And my grandmother, she taught me a whole lot in those short 3 months about being a mom and being an adult and being responsible. Because yes, I will tell anybody, my grandmother charged me rent. I paid $150 a month, but it's her house, But, my grandmother, she also said, you need to get some services to take care of that baby. Your mom and dad can't do everything. She said, I can't do everything. She said, I'm on a fixed income. So my grandmother, against my mother's wishes, took me to the county service office, and she put me on assistance. And I can honestly tell you, I was on assistance for 6 years. I was on it for 3 years straight, no help. And then the last 3 years, that's when they started the welfare to work program. And so then I was able to get a job. And when I was able to get a job, I went to work. And I stayed on assistance for 3 years, and I worked myself right off. So 6 years total, but 3 years I was working. And, and it was approved by the state. And I had to do what I had to do. I got WIC, and whatever type of free services I could get, I got them. And if you can raise a child on $437 a month, you're doing daggone good, okay? So, and she never wanted for a thing. My grandmother and my great aunt, they, made sure if she needed something, they got it. I never wanted for anything when my child was born, because my family had my back. So, but I dealt with a lot of ridicule with kids, with other girls. I had girls who were like my best girlfriends, and yeah, lost them Just like that. As soon as their parents found out I was having a baby, they said, you can't talk to her. She's got the plague. She's got the whatever. It's going to jump on you. Stay away from her. So I lost all my friends. And you know, being a teenager, especially like 13, 14, 15, you know, that's when you learn about the in crowd, the out crowd, and, you know, who's popular, who's not. I was in the in crowd until I got pregnant. And once I got pregnant, I got put to the out crowd. And I was just like, oh, okay. And so I lost all my friends but one. That particular one I still speak to from time to time. We have known each other since we were 10 years old, almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years this year. And so she stuck by me no matter what. And I appreciate that. Of course, the boys, when the boys found out that I was having a baby, they thought, oh, she's easy. And no, there's nothing easy about boss ladies. So they got turned down real fast. You know, my daughter's father fed me a fairy tale, and nobody could change my mind on that. He did. He did, but you know, that's all right. I never talked bad about my daughter's father to her. Now, I might have got on the phone with a good girlfriend, you know, or, you know, the guys or whatever, but never did I disrespect my daughter by downgrading her father. I was just like, you'll find out when the time comes. So, and she did, you know, she did. She's grown now. She definitely knows. You know, I did date after breaking up with him. We broke up when she was 3 months old because we just couldn't stop fighting and arguing and whatever. And I dated some guys, and I wouldn't bring them around my daughter. You know, they may have seen her because her daycare was in the same school as us, but I did not like, you know, come on over and play with me and my kid, that type of stuff. That wasn't my thing. The first guy that I really allowed around her and to like be in her presence was Boss Man. And I told him straight, I said, look, I'm not here for no games. I'm not here to play house. This is real. This is me. I got a kid and I got to take care of my kid. And if my kid don't like you, you got to go. Praise God, she liked him, girl. I'm sorry, I had to say that. But yeah, she liked him and I did too. So anyway, so I dealt with, you know, losing friendships. I dealt with the guys thinking that I was easy. I dealt with administrators in the school who just basically henpecked me. Basically, they just kind of put a stereotype of me that I was going to be a no good baby making machine, welfare mom, never get off welfare, have 1,000 kids and living on assistance and living in Section 8. I've never, honest to goodness, never had Section 8, never had public housing, none of that. So, yeah, I never qualified. Anyway, I mean, I would love to live in a place for $25. You know, have me a 5-bedroom house for $25 a month. Yeah, do that for me, county services. Never happened. Anyway, but I dealt with teachers that were just hateful. And that's what gave me my drive to make sure I finished school and I finished school strong. After I had her, my GPA, well, let me run it back. When I was pregnant, I went on bed rest 2 months early because she was trying to come in September. She was born in November. So I ended up with a tutor. And having the tutor, I was able to pass all my classes but one. And the one that I didn't class, I took an incomplete. So I did not fail. I just did not complete the class. And when I came back to school, I was in a whole nother realm of space. I didn't have this, you know, high school thinking. I was like, I'm a mom now. You know, my brain is somewhere else. I'm a mom. And so my GPA went down. When I started at my high school, I started with a 3.6. My GPA went down to a 1.9. I was spiraling out of control as far as my work was concerned because I was not thinking about school. And then I had administrator tell me that I would never amount to anything without having math and science in my life. I would love to see her now. Miss Scott, if you're watching, I'm doing just fine, you know. I got a house and a fleet of cars and a beautiful job, career, yes, degrees, yeah, okay. Anyway, had to just do that shout out. Because it bothers me. And I think that's why I am the way I am, because I've had a lot of people tell me, you can't do this. You're not going to amount to nothing. You're not going to be about nothing. Your kid is going to be this. Your kid's going to repeat the same cycle. Let me stop right here. My daughter is 24 years old. Yes, she has a child, but she had her child at the age of 20. And in the state of Minnesota, at the age of 18, you are an adult. So, with that being said, my child beat the cycle. She did not have a child young like I did, like my mother did, like my grandmother did. She beat the cycle, okay? So, when those teachers were saying that, I was like, no, whatever I can do, if I gotta staple her legs shut, she ain't having no baby as a teenager. I mean, that just was my thinking. So it put this drive in me. When that teacher said I wasn't going to amount to nothing, I wasn't going to be about nothing, that's when I was like, you know what? It's time to buckle down. It's time to get serious. So when I got to my junior year in high school, I sat my tail down. I did my work. I told my mom, look, I got to get my homework done. Please take her. You know, and so mom and dad would take her, let me get my work done. They gave me a little bit of freedom to have a little bit of fun with high school. I was the manager of the wrestling team, but when I wasn't doing that, yeah, I was home taking care of my kid. So, but like I said, the teacher and administrators telling me that type of stuff, that's what turned me around. When I graduated from high school, I graduated back with a 3.6. Can we say amen? Thank you. So, with that being said, now granted, I did go to college. I went, I wasn't prepared. No one prepared me for college and this and that. And I was just like, well, whatever. I need to work because I don't want to be on welfare. So I chose the work route as opposed to the school route. But I can also give another testimony that Boss Lady did go back to school. I went back to school more than once. I got certification in this. I got a degree in that. Boss Lady doing just fine. And I have a career that I've been at my company for 14 years. So with that being said, it can be done. They put these stigmas on these teen parents, these teen moms, that you're not going to amount to nothing. You're always going to be on welfare. You're going to have thousands of babies. You don't have to. You can say no, and you can go out there. You can go to school. You can get a job, and you can take care of the child that you had as a teen and be just fine and be successful. So I'm a testimony to that. I had ridicule in the church. My grandmother took care of that, though. My mom made sure I held my head up high in church, because mom didn't let me not go to church. But I had some dark days. When I finally moved out on my own, it was hard. You go from, kids don't get this. You go from living in a house where you're not paying no rent, no lights, gas, water, phone, cell phone, cable, buying groceries, to now having to do all that stuff. It was hard. So I went from having all this lap of luxury to my first place. We didn't have cable. We had one TV. It was a 13-inch TV. We had one VCR. Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't even think we had movies. I think she had a couple movies, but that's when VHS was still real expensive, like $20, $25 a movie. So we had a membership to go and rent movies, It was a struggle, and I think back to that particular place I lived in to where I am now, and I'm just like, I may not be where some people think I should be, but I'm definitely not where I was. So I appreciate that, and I thank God above, because he has blessed us tremendously throughout everything. I know a lot of people are trying to figure out, well, why'd you have kids so far apart? We won't talk about that middle section, but, baby girl Peanut, I didn't want to have another child, didn't want to bring another child into this world without being married. So when I met Boss Man, baby girl was 2, and he raised her from 2 all the way to grown. We got married in 2005, and Miss Peanut was born 2007. And if you haven't seen that video about my fertility stuff, you know, check that one out. It's on my playlist somewhere. But you know, I just didn't want to have another child and be by myself. I didn't want to have another child and have to do everything all on my own. You know, it's just, there's nothing fun with that. I mean, I know there's people out there who elect to just have a kid, no partner. Really? That's not cute. I'm sorry. You know, I don't care what kind of career you have, how big your house is, how many cars you got. You still need that second person. You need that father figure. For baby girl, I did put men who were prominent in her life. You know, she had her papa, she had her godfather, she had her uncle, you know, and then when Bossman came along, she had him. Because I didn't want her to think that men were just obsolete. And so that was something that was near and dear to my heart, to make sure that she had strong men in her life. You know, I didn't want her to think that, you know, all men were dogs, or, you know, don't take care of their kids, or, you know, stuff like that. It was hard, you know, raising her up, though. And I will tell you, I rushed her childhood. Every time she met a milestone, like, I don't know, for some of you who have kids, when you go to the doctor and they ask you, is the child doing this? Is the child doing that? Are they crawling? Are they grabbing? Are they using 2 fingers as opposed to the whole hand, or, you know, stuff like that? Or are they just pointing with 1 finger as opposed to just kind of patting it? You know what I mean? So when the doctors would ask me that, I was like, okay, so what's the next milestone she's supposed to do? And I would work with her to make sure she met that milestone and get to the next one and the next one. And then the next thing I knew, she was 18 telling me I'm grown. And I was just like, wait a minute, what? You know? It was, I don't know, just unreal. When I think about it, I rushed her to a point of, I don't have to take care of you no more. And so with Miss Peanut, I know you guys, like, you always talk about Miss Peanut. I do, because right now I enjoy being a mom so much. When I was a teen mom, I didn't enjoy it. Now, don't get me wrong. I love baby girl, but I didn't enjoy giving up my childhood. I didn't enjoy giving up my teen years, you know, even though it was by choice. It was by choice that I did this. But it was like, okay, as soon as I can get her grown, then I can do what I want to do. But by the time she was 18, Miss Peanut was already here. She was 2. And it was like, okay, you know, she was 2, almost 3. And so, you know, that's why I do the things I do with Miss Peanut, and I just try to enjoy. I try to capture every moment that I can and just relish in it. Not that I didn't take pictures and things with baby girl, but it's a difference. It's a difference when you're a teen parent compared to when you're an adult parent. And it was hard, you know, with her father not being a part of things. You know, with Boss Man and Peanut, you know, I can, you know, even if he doesn't see her do X, Y, Z, I can tell him, oh, this happened, and, you know, and share these type of things. Or I'll send him a picture, you know, while he's at work, just so he can share in the joy that I'm having. I couldn't do that with baby girl. You know, I wasn't able to travel with baby girl. I mean, not often. Not like I do with Peanut. I mean, Peanut and I have been traveling since, Peanut was 11 months old. I wasn't able to do that with baby girl because I was a teen. I didn't have no money. So, you know, I did put her in activities, but not like with what Miss Peanut does. You know what I'm saying? So it's a difference. You know, your resources are limited. I did have, I had access to 3 parenting groups, and I made those parenting groups work for me. There was other girls in it just to be in it to get free stuff. I was in it to learn. I want to learn what it was to be a parent, to be a great mom. I don't feel I did her a disservice because I did raise her to the best of my ability. It's just I feel I could have done better. I could have slowed down some, you know. But like I said, my parenting groups, they worked for me. You know, they helped me out. I went to cooking classes, parenting classes. We did field trips with our children. I mean, I exposed her to things that I wouldn't necessarily have the option to expose her to. So, you know, I'm glad about that. And it helped shape me into the parent that I am now, because now I expose Miss Peanut to things that I didn't even think about with baby girl. So, you know, everything happens for a reason. Being a teen parent, it was a struggle, but I praise God that I made it through. There's a lot of females that I knew back then who were teen parents. Their lives did not turn out nowhere near mine. And granted, we're all different, but, you know, they took avenues that I was just like, nope. You know, I mean, one thing that helped me was inheriting my home at the age of 20, you know. So I went from being 14, having this baby, to 18 or, well, 17, getting my first place. And then by age 20, inheriting a home. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I had some stepping stones, you know, I had some frogs in my life too. But through it all, I made it. And I believe it was because of my faith. My faith just kept me grounded. And, you know, I kept myself grounded in the word. And, you know, the Lord just blessed us. So, you know, so I hope that answers your question, Amanda. And anyone else who may have been wondering or wanted to question but didn't know how to ask me. You know, I'm pretty much an open book. It doesn't bother me to talk about my experiences, because my experiences got me to where I am. So I don't look at it as a badge of shame. You know, I puff out my chest. Yes, I was a teen mom. Yes, look at me now, you know, type of thing. Not like in a way of, you know, not blocking my blessings or something, but, you know, just, yeah, I did it. This is what I did, you know. And when the time came right for me to, you know, go back to school and everything, I did, you know, and I graduated back in 2011. And it was so funny because Miss Peanut and we took pictures because she graduated from preschool 2012. And so we did pictures, and we have a side-by-side where it says 2011 and it has my name. It says 2012 and it has her name. And I just love that picture because, you know, I did this and I did this for my kids. So, like, even now with baby girl staying at my mom's house, when she walks in that door, first face she sees is her mama in her black cap and gown with her degree. Like, I did it, you know. If I can do it, you can do it. And so that's what I want to leave y'all with. If I can do it and make it through, anybody else can do it. You just got to put your mind to it. And, you know, just put your best foot forward. So teen parenting, it's hard. And if you can avoid it at all costs. I am not doing this video to say, oh, yeah, go ahead and do it, girl. No. I'm not saying that because I don't want that for nobody. But if it happens, just know that you're not alone. Just know that you can persevere. You know, you can graduate school and on time and with honors, okay? You know, and you can take care of your child and lead a productive life. So that's all I wanted to say. That's my video. So I hope you guys leave a comment below. Ask any questions that you want. And I'll see everybody in a new video. Bye.